everybody. Welcome to Woods Wild Wonders, or Wild Wood, or Woods Wonders, or whatever combination you want to give it. But welcome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to talk a little bit about humility, I hope. And does ketchup go on grilled chicken? Stay tuned. So, normally I leave that little blank space between the intro and now because in years past I've done podcasts, a number of them, and I've had an intro music, I've had sponsors, or I've had ads that I got to run or talk about, or music that you can hear, or something going on in between that cut. I don't have that anymore. Nope. Now it's just me talking to hopefully one person at a minimum, maybe two. Well, I know one will watch because she feels like she has to support me in every ridiculous thing that I do. Which brings me to my main topic, which is ego. And when I asked AI to give me a fancy definition for what ego is, it says it's ego, that insidious beast that lurks within us all. In the workplace, it could be a subtle saboteur, a whisper in the ear that tempts us down treacherous paths. There's a lot to digest, but basically it's saying that ego, at least this is my interpretation, that ego is what hurts us or stops us or slows us down from being the best that we could be. If you're if you're if you are a leader and you're supposed to be a leader, you have to put your ego in check. You have to have some humility. Now, most of the time when I see ego get in the way of a leader, they stop being a leader. Maybe they never were, but they stop being a leader and they start being a boss or a dictator or a micromanager. This takes them from a level of someone that may have a lot of respect and earned respect and demand respect, yet receive none of it. Ego gets in the way of growth. It doesn't allow us to become a better version of ourselves, and it also pushes down others around us. If you're not open to criticism, if you're not open to hearing what somebody else has to say, and you let your ego take over, well, now that person may never come to you again. You may make a terrible decision in the future because you refuse to listen to another point of view. Let me give you a quick little example. I use this example for a lot of different things, but I think it plays really well here. I'm a sports fan. I am wearing my Detroit Lions throwback sweater. Hopefully, it's our year. That's neither here nor there. But um, BYU football back 10, 15 years ago. Now, I'm not a BYU fan, but I picked up a valuable lesson from something. There was a coach there, and his name was Bronco Mendenhall. I think he was probably 15 years ago at this point. I don't know, 10. And he had, if you watch sports or football specifically, you'll see that most of the time they have their names on the back of their jerseys. And this had been the case at BYU. Well, he decided one year he was going to put honor, respect, faith, loyalty, family, words like that on the back of the jerseys. There were five, I think there were 5 words spread out across everybody. So, there'd be multiples of loyalty or whatever. He thought it was going to be a great hit. He ran it through, had the jerseys put out, and I don't even know if they played a game. I want to say they played one preseason game. It could have just been a reveal, and he got destroyed. The public, everybody hated it. They thought it was a terrible idea. Now, that in and of itself isn't terrible, but the idea of putting it out there so everyone could see became a terrible idea. It was a total flop. Well, in interviews and kind of people looking into it after all that, basically he had surrounded himself at that time with yes men. If you know what a yes man is, it's somebody that no matter what the person that outranks them or is above them or like their boss, no matter what they say, yes sir, yes ma'am, yes man. They're yes men. Always, always going to agree with whatever the number one says. And that's what he had surrounded by. Had he had other people around him saying, that's a terrible idea, bro, I don't think we should do it, maybe he would have changed his mind. Now, I don't know Bronco Mendenhall at all, obviously. I'm just a dude on the internet. But I do know that that was a bad idea. And maybe it was his ego that wouldn't listen to other ideas. Maybe somebody did. But it doesn't sound like anyone ever gave him any criticism to say, hey, it was a bad idea. So he just went with it. Many people think that criticism, constructive or even harsh criticism, is a personal attack on them and their idea. Maybe your idea just isn't good. Maybe you need to change something and you need to hear that criticism. One thing I hear a lot, and I've heard a lot over the last couple of decades, is nobody likes to hear that's the way we've always done it because we're progressive. We want to move forward. We want to change. We want to make it better. And people will be quick to say, don't tell me it's because that's how we've always done it. Yet, when you try and push change, that's a strong word. When you try and implement change or you try and suggest change, those same people that will tell you, don't tell me that's the way we've always done it because we're progressive and moving, they'll tell you we can't change because that's the way we've always done it. And I don't think they necessarily believe that. I think it's because of their ego. They don't want it to fail and then have it look like it fell on them. Speaking of a boss or a leader or whomever. It wasn't their idea, so it's not a good idea. Yet they don't take the time to figure it out. They don't take the time to investigate whether or not it would be a good idea. So the way we've always done it is a terrible mentality, and most people would agree to that. However, trying to change that, we fall back on, well, that's the way we've always done it, because it's easy, typically. Ego creates some of the most toxic environments because nobody has a voice. Now the leaders become the dictators and shut up or everybody gets in trouble. Do what I say because I said what I said. And that's it. But it's also not just an individual problem. It can be a systemic problem. The example I gave you with the Bronco Mendenhall, he probably had a whole group of people telling everybody this was a good idea. If the whole establishment says that's a great idea, then everybody at the top buys that. And now you have a largely toxic environment. So this brings me back to my keyword at the very beginning, humility. We need to be humble. We need to allow ourselves to listen to others' criticisms and not take it personal. If you come at me with a personal attack, okay, fine. But we have to get to the point where we can allow criticism, think about it, and decide, is this something that may or may not work? In a fast-paced world that we're in now, it's moving, it's always changing. People don't want to hear that change. People want stability, and I understand that. But sometimes that stability is change. Sometimes we have to learn to grow. So humility in the workplace is when creativity flourishes. That's when people come together and they collaborate and things get way better. Individuals can get their full potential when you allow for some humility. And I'm not talking about humility to the point of self-deprecation because it's got a negative effect. If I have such an ego and someone tells me you need to be more humble, and then I self-deprecate to the point where the person telling me now says, no, it's okay. All I've done is I believe that's called gaslighting, if I've got my current lingo down correctly. But true humility is what makes a great leader. And that's what we should strive to be if we want to be a leader. If you don't, by all means, continue about your path. But check your ego, find some humility, and build a better place for everybody else. Now, the last question that was posed at the beginning: ketchup does not go on grilled chicken. That's disgusting. You probably should go get help for that. Anyway, I will see you all on the next one, and who knows where we're going to go from there. See ya, and thanks for being here.